This is a happy little story I wrote called A Quiet Walk. Many of you wrote to me after I first put this one up and asked if everything was okay with me, and I have no idea where this story came from, but I think it's a good one. A Quiet Walk by Scott Gressitt. There was next to nothing left for me to do. I had scoured every room, closet, shelf, nook, and cranny for anything worth taking. I came up with nothing I wanted. I removed a 45-gallon bottle of propane from its pad on the side of the house and wrestled it up 3 flights. I set it in the middle of the attic floor. I opened the valve on the fitting I had fashioned for the event. The loud hiss broke the afternoon peace. I took one last quick look at him, bound ankle and wrist to a ladder-back chair. His mouth was duct-taped shut, wrapped around his head a few times. His elbows and ankles were taped to the chair. The bruises on his face had deepened in hue since I had finished with him. The left eye, swollen shut and bleeding, sourced a rivulet that meandered down his chin, through the hair on his chest, over his big belly, off the seat of the chair, and pooled bright red on the wooden floor. I looked into his one working eye. I saw fear. I saw hatred. I banged down the stairs to the second floor, the hissing behind me growing fainter as I descended. I pushed a chair in front of the attic door, propping it open. Down the stairs to the second floor, I landed in the hallway, facing a full-length mirror. I paused for a moment, impressed by the look of calm on my face. For someone about to step through time and space, I was downright taciturn. I looked long and hard at my reflection, stoic and unemotional. Did I really want to do this? Down the stairs to the dining room, I pulled a taper set in a brass candlestick off the dining table. I stopped, turned, and looked down the length of the table at its sister. I grabbed her too and headed to the kitchen. I looked in all the obvious places I'd keep matches and found nothing. I started opening every drawer and combing its contents for a match or a lighter. Nothing. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered under my breath. I began to tense up, second-guessing my plan, doubting my ability to execute it. On a hunch, I walked back to the dining room table and opened the one dresser drawer between the legs. There was a box of candles, minus a few, and a box of wooden matches. Down the stairs to the basement, I lighted both candles and set each on the floor about 10 feet apart. I pulled open the window above the washer. That was it. Now there was nothing else left to do. I walked out the front door and pulled it securely closed behind me. The sound of my boots clomping down the front stairs took me right back to 18. I turned and looked at the house. Sunlight broke through the branches of clinging leaves and outlined shadows across the 3 stories. I knew this place, this moment. A wave of deep sadness washed over me. I started crying. I sat on the front porch stairs and held my breath, bawling like a baby. I had a couple of miles to walk down the farm road to the state road. I was in no hurry to get anywhere. I stood up and mopped the tears off my face. The maple trees in the front yard towered over the house. I wondered if they would burn too. The sound of my boots on the dirt road was softened by the maple leaves falling off the trees, lining the road for miles. It made for a quiet walk. It was a beautiful day to walk. I daydreamed and forgot myself, lost in the beauty of the setting. I guessed it was about 3 in the afternoon. The slant rays of the September sun angled down on me and warmed my face every time I stepped out of shade. It was still, an uncommon autumn day, high pressure, cloudless and blue. I walked and walked. I was content. I could hear the sound of the state road down in the valley below me. It wound for miles through the woods, but was invisible from up on the hill. Just ahead, I saw the break in the fence where the road runs off to the South 40. I walked through it and up to the 3rd headstone in the small family cemetery. Macy Louise Heston, born July 27, 1957, died September 9th, 1989. I sure miss you, Macy. It hasn't been the same around here without you, and nothing will ever be the same for me after today. I stayed for a while and told her about the past year, the lawyers, the judge, the jury. I talked with her about work and music and art. I told her again how much I missed her. When I heard the explosion, I turned and looked up the hill at the house. In the distance, the roof was flying in bits, spraying heavenward, timbers and shingles raining down through the firestorm. Smoke and flames broiled against the background of cool blue sky. Okay, Macy, I think we're finished now. I noticed the smell of the fall leaves. I love that smell. The house collapsed in on itself, and it burned like the fires my father had built in the street in the fall, burning mountains of fallen maple leaves. The dance was hot and golden red, roiling and broiling, whirling waves of flames spiraling up, up, fueled by 100-year-old timber. There was no breeze, and the flames and smoke rose straight up into the sky. You don't often see that. My work was done. I felt good knowing the locals would sleep better tonight. Macy would sleep better tonight.